what?
Hi.
Hello.
Great responsibility comes. I am geek.
True story. Yeah.
That would have really changed the movie up.
Sorry, we had some technical stuff. We're still working on stuff.
Chris, you have a ring next to you. I guess it's a reflection in one of your pictures. It looks like there's something drawn on your screen, like like there's just like an O. I'm like, are we supposed to be like playing tic-tac-toe with you? What's going on?
Yes. It's your move. Your move. You're going. That's the ring light.
Fancy.
Yeah. These are Brittany Lee pictures that she's drawn. Brittany Lee is the Disney artist behind the design and stuff for suddenly my mom went blank. Let It Go.
Frozen.
Frozen.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let It Go.
The latest Arendelle like log thing that's on Disney Plus now, where it's just like the logs burning. Whatever, she designed that.
Oh wow.
As well. So yeah, this is her Hawaiian gods that she designed.
Oh cool.
Hookah. Hawaii. Speaking of Hawaii,
Oh man.
I'm going to Hawaii on Saturday. Anyway, should we start the show?
Are you really going to Hawaii on Saturday?
Yes, I am.
Which island?
The Disney one.
Whatever Alani's on.
The one.
Oh,
that
you're
has
going to Alani? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Waikiki
man.
and all that.
I have so many questions.
Honolulu, I guess.
Okay.
I don't know. Hey, so many questions?
No, I just have questions because we were thinking about going to Hawaii, but I heard it's a little bit of a of a pickle to get in and out of the islands nowadays.
It wasn't too bad. As long as
When
you're
you're actually there.
vaccinated.
They won't let you out.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
You just got to show a vaccination card and that's it.
You have to do a bunch of stuff beforehand.
Oh,
You have
okay.
to fill out all this forms and stuff.
That's paperwork. Okay.
And then and then you, if you have clear, I don't know why, we can talk about it later. If you have clear through the airport, you can do it through there, and they give you a health pass.
Oh, okay.
And then you go on the Hawaii travel site and you put in your clear stuff, and then they're like, okay, you can come in and not have to quarantine.
And bring a sacrifice for the volcano.
Oh well.
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Cool.
All
I'm
right.
gonna tune into that show because I want to hear about your Hawaii trip.
In a couple of weeks, I'm going to Hawaii and then Disneyland because we had a layover. So I'm like, we're laying over in LA for a day. We're going to Disneyland.
We just are.
We have to. I mean, when else am I going to be in LA?
I don't know.
I mean, it's no Friends reunion, but you know.
What is though?
I know. What is? Nothing else is.
What is? All right, we're ready.
Yeah.
Hi, Vance. Vance, before we start, I saw your post about Boba Fett,
I don't.
the book of Boba
Yeah.
Fett.
I don't understand.
I'm very confused because I really liked it. We're gonna have to talk about this later.
Oh, did
Young
Vance,
man.
did Vance not like it?
You didn't like it. We'll have to talk about this.
No, Vance, I might be like 50% with you there because I wasn't. I don't know. I feel like they made a bad decision by using an existing character. It's like the prequels all over again. It's like we have these ideas in our head of Boba Fett. Mandalorian, it was like a new character, a new everything, and it's like Boba Fett, and then you're watching this going, is this Boba Fett? This feels like it's Mandalorian again.
I kind of have to watch the second episode again because I kind of fell asleep a little.
See, it's not a good sign. It's not a good sign.
I watched it on
I
a
was
live
really
stream.
tired.
I watched it on a live stream with a bunch of Star Wars fans, and so it was fun because we were all like going, "Yeah, I know what that is."
How about that gunk droid?
They look like a man in a trash can.
That was terrible. That was probably the worst part. Like, what is
I think
that?
it was just a man in a trash can. It was Bruno from.
We don't talk about it.
From
No, we don't talk about Silencio, Bruno.
Anyways. Silencio. You will watch Advance, yep. You'll like it too.
Wow.
I'm just kidding. You can like and dislike whatever you want to like.
As
long as
long
it's
as
not
it
The Last
coincides
Jedi.
with what Ryan likes and
Yeah,
dislikes.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
No, no, no.
Yeah.
That's the
I don't
rules.
care.
That's the rules of the
Fine.
group.
It's fine. I don't care. It's fine. It's fine. I'm okay. Anyways, are we ready
Yes.
for episode
Mhm.
236?
Wow, 236.
No.
Wait a minute.
Adrian, what?
221.
I know. I'm just
I
kidding.
know.
All right. Here we go. In 5, 4, 3, 2. Hello and welcome to iamGEEK. This is episode 221. And with great power comes great responsibility. I'm Ryan, joined by my brother Chris, a good fellow Catron,
Hey-o.
and Ray is back with us.
Hey.
We got that out of the way.
Yes.
So nobody has to die in this episode to say that. It's been said. Nobody has to die.
It doesn't have the meaning behind it.
No. If
No
somebody
one
doesn't.
By
dies.
saying that, you're a marked man now. So.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Ooh. With great power comes no responsibility.
There you
Do
go.
it
You're safe.
because you have all the power.
So, yeah. So watch your back.
That's how the government works, right? Am I right?
If you don't know what we're talking about tonight, this is iamMarvel, I guess. If we're starting that now, this is iamMarvel, and we're
Yes.
talking about
Ooh.
Spider-Man No Way Home. There's going to be so many spoilers in this episode. So many spoilers.
Just
So if
turn
you
it
haven't
off.
seen the
Turn it off
movie,
now. Run away.
what have you been doing with your life?
It's true.
What, spending time with family? Come on, just go to the movie.
Staying safe, saving
Yeah,
money.
stay safe.
You can spend time with your family when you're watching Spider-Man
right.
anyway.
Yes.
That's what I did.
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man No Way Home. We're going to dive right into it. We're going to talk all about it. And then we'll see what happens at the end. If it comes out good or bad, or
Mm.
I know one person in the group is still sort of like,
What?
won't say who, but his first name's Chris.
Wait a minute.
Wait a
Which
minute.
one?
Whew. That narrows it down.
Oh, no.
Thank God. I'm not
Everybody was
me,
like,
Chris.
"Oh, it's not me. Oh, it's not me." Thank
I'm
goodness.
sitting there going, is he talking
Raise-
about me?
Ray is like Loki when he got taken by the people, and they're like, "Are you a robot?" "No, I don't." "Are you sure?" "I don't. Am I a robot?" "I don't."
Starting to have self-doubts. Am I not a Chris?
Now, before we dive into it, let's set up the timeline. I'm going to rely on Chris for this because he's smart.
Is it the same
I need
Chris
to-
that
I
didn't
think
like
he-
the movie?
I looked it up, but now I'm just
Yeah,
totally.
the other Chris.
I'm getting ready for a trip, so my brain is all over the place. We're going to Hawaii, so that it takes a lot to go to Hawaii. We were talking a little bit before, but it takes. You can't just like go to Hawaii right now. You have to
Mm-mm.
do all this stuff, fill out pages and pages of forms.
Learn how to smoke a pig.
Yeah, it says, "Will you be bringing a pig with you to enter Hawaii?"
Mhm.
The answer is no.
But I hope to bring one back.
Yeah. So we're going, there's a lot of stuff with COVID you got to fill out and stuff, but like they have to have your reservation number to your hotel.
Really?
Mm.
I guess if you don't have a
Know where to
reservation,
find you.
no reservation. It'll be like
No hobos
Indiana
coming.
Jones, like Indiana Jones when they ask for the ticket
Mm.
and they,
Mm.
and then he throws the dude
Yeah.
out of the plane. No ticket.
Yeah, they're gonna toss you out of the
There
plane.
you go.
Better have a ticket.
Have to swim back to
Yeah.
California.
All right, let's set up where this takes place. So basically, this movie picks up right after Far From Home.
Yes.
Yes,
Which
directly after
It's
the
the year.
pickup.
Mere seconds after.
No ticket.
Do you remember what year
Mhm.
that is supposed to be?
It's post blip.
Oh, yeah, it's like 2023, maybe. I don't know. They did like a 5-year jump, so they're like ahead of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In time.
And for those asking why we're not talking about Hawkeye tonight, we will at one point because it was really good. For those asking, well, why wasn't Spider-Man in Hawkeye?
Mm.
Because Hawkeye happens after Spider-Man
Yes,
No Way Home. So I guess we'd
I know that because the tree is still up
yes,
in Rockefeller
There
Center.
you go. That's how you know.
it's true. The tree is still up. So that's why he's not in Hawkeye. you know, even though everybody wanted it to be. It couldn't
Yes,
be.
but this I believe does take place after Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Spider-Man?
Yeah, I believe
Okay.
so. I believe that kind of happened possibly when he was kind of on his European vacation type thing, which kind of makes sense because that's why he didn't show up there because they were in New York at one point.
Were they? I just remember a boat.
They were off shrimping,
That was New
and
Orleans.
so they, yeah.
Well, and also in that show, New Orleans is right next door to New York. It doesn't take any time
Very close.
to go. Yeah.
It's like Gotham City, Metropolis close.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes, which is yeah,
I completely missed that.
which she mentioned that it was rebuilt or whatever in it. So that means it's done.
So
yeah.
it's done
It
in
makes
Hawkeye.
Also,
Yeah,
in
it's-
Spider-Man,
yeah,
they're working
they've
on
made it a
the
Captain
Statue of
America
Liberty, which
statue.
they reference also.
It's still
in,
weird to me, I don't know.
Hawkeye.
I don't know why they did that either.
I wanted to see the news. I
It's
wanted
weird.
to see the new
It's a
Statue of
Captain
Liberty.
America statue?
Well, no, they
Well,
had a
that-
shield.
Well, I know they added the
Yeah, they had a
shield, right? Yeah, which seems
Yeah.
bizarre.
Yeah,
and then
the new
that kind
version
of
or
falls
something
off.
And then on
this
the
movie,
on
but-
the book it says, "I can do this all day."
Oh God, please no. I know we're not talking about Hawkeye, but I'm still mad about that.
Yeah, there's a button at the
But-
bottom. You
that
hit
was-
that, and she sings
Oh,
it.
cool, nice.
Yeah.
They added a shield. That was all.
I can do this all.
Yeah,
What?
night you have
This
to
is
hit the button.
crazy.
In
Let's
the
just talk
day,
about
it
Hawkeye.
I think I change my shirt.
Well, if the lighting's right, it's a
whatever.
light sensor. So if you pass by it, it just
All right.
plays
So in the comments, Vance is saying 2023 between July and late November, early December.
yes, that's right.
So yeah, I think I said that date. Sure.
Yeah, I think that's what you said.
Right.
All right, so we got that cleared up. Now we can dive in.
Woo.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean it does it would take place after WandaVision because
Mhm.
at the end Doctor Strange goes to her.
What?
Yes.
Well, I mean, yeah.
I mean, the good news is
That was
they
a
got past
trailer
COVID, so that's
for another
I mean,
It was a trailer, but I mean it's
And that's the scene that they should have had at the end of WandaVision. That was the one that I wanted.
Yeah.
They probably shot it and were like, no, we're not going to use it.
Well, he was supposed to be in one division.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm wondering if that was like the moment that they had shot with
Hey,
the
Wanda.
intention
we'll get.
of using it. And
Someone's
then
like,
it's
that doesn't make sense in the timeline. We can't do this. Just get
I know. I trapped a bunch of people into town. Oh, I'm not here about that. I don't care.
I know I'm technically a villain
care
now,
about
but I mean, come on.
Anyway,
We've all done stuff. It's fine.
We've all enslaved
okay.
people. Wanda,
Overall view of No Way Home. What did you guys think?
I'll go first. Sure.
We'll save Catron for last.
I think I know the Chris now.
Who's
It
going?
was good. I liked it. That's our Chris. No, it was really good. It was nostalgic
Nice.
but new.
Classic Chris
It made me
Street.
laugh. It made me cry. It was way more emotional than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Like watching it, and not because of the fact of we'll get to it, someone's death.
Too soon.
I know.
It's too soon.
I know. Way too soon. But just seeing like the old characters come back and everything, it just dredged up all this past with like Spider-Man movies and stuff, and it really got you in the feels. A lot more than I thought it would sitting there watching it. I really liked it. It was good.
Ray, what did you
I
think?
agree. I agree with everything Chris said. Well, I
All right.
also think they
Keaton.
did throwback and they did nostalgia in a good way. You know, it wasn't just
Yeah.
it wasn't kind of how they've been doing with other stuff, Matrix, Star Wars, where she was like, hey, remember these characters that you loved? They're back and they're old. And it's like, I mean the characters in this one, like the other Spider-Man, I mean they played a part. They were like characters. It wasn't just like, hey, remember me? I was Spider-Man. I was Spider-Man's Tobey Maguire, and I was Spider-Man's Andrew Garfield. Okay, bye, we're out. I mean, they were like part of the film, which was really cool. So it was, it was interwoven well, so that they fit within the story, and they were kind of vital to what was going on in the actual narrative. I kind of wanted to see more at the end. I wanted to see like, let's see what's their universe like now. Now that they've gone back, and I kind of feel like that's the one thing that the film didn't deliver on in that respect. There was all this setup. We got to save them. We got to do this. We got to do that. Does Doc Ock go back with the arc reactor? I don't know. They're just gone. We never see them again, which was kind of a bummer. But that was the first movie I've seen since like COVID started and whatnot. We ventured out to the theater, and I had been, even before the pandemic, movies had been like letting me down. I'd go and I'd be like, oh god, we spent a lot of money for that. But leaving the theater after Spider-Man, I was like jazzed and excited, and I felt like I got my money's worth, and it was fun and emotional, like Chris was saying. It was just a great ride, and I felt like, yay, going to the movies was cool again. Yay, it was awesome. And so
Yeah.
so that was what I thought in a nutshell.
I really enjoyed it. And I like Chris. I laughed, I cried. It was the first movie that I mean, a long time. I'm trying to think of another movie where the crowd was just into it. There was clapping, there was cheering, there was, there was multiples of those. When certain characters just appeared on screen, and then one character appeared on screen, and I'm clapping. I'm like, yeah, and then my wife looks at me and is like, I don't. Why are you clapping for this lawyer? I don't understand. What's going on? Why is everybody clapping for a lawyer? Like, we love the law. Yeah.
Blind lawyers are awesome.
He's that guy on the commercials for the 555-0123.
So I had to explain that to her afterwards, because she never watched Daredevil.
Texas Hammer. Yeah.
But yeah, I loved it. There's I'm trying to think of something I didn't like about it. I mean, of course, the death, sort of had to happen, but you didn't want it to happen.
Did it have to?
Well,
Gage was like, no.
I don't know. I don't know. I guess it didn't have to happen, but it sort of had to happen for Spider-Man's story. Anyways, we'll get all into that, but let's hear Debbie Downer. Let's hear Katrin's thoughts.
I like the movie. Okay, don't get me wrong. I enjoyed watching it for the most part. Ryan asked me, he said, "What did you think?" And I like that night, because we both watched it on opening night about the same time. But and I said, I haven't decided yet, and I feel like I still haven't decided. Like, I feel like I need to watch it another time to really get it. But I felt like it was kind of cheesy in some parts, with some of the characters. So like the way they were interacting, and like, oh, look at this, I can do this, and it was, I don't know, it was funny, and just, I don't know, just kind of cheesy. But I did enjoy it, but I didn't cheer like everybody did, because I was like, I knew they were going to be in the movie, because I read all these things and saw all this stuff, so it didn't. The only thing that was a surprise really to me was that with the lawyer, right, with Daredevil. So
what?
So, but I don't know. I really liked the Tobey Maguire movies. Like those are the ones I really like a lot. I like the new ones too, with what's his name?
Tom Holland.
Tom Holland. Yeah.
I've seen it in person.
Yeah. Ryan, your mic just went weird. You might unplug and replug, but but I like Tobey Maguire. It was kind of weird too that and we can get into this, but Tobey Maguire is older than everybody else. Where it seemed like they pulled everybody out from a current event, or whatever. But it's like he was the only one that seemed older than everybody else, and that was kind of weird. But also I kind of liked it because I was like, what if they made a movie with him as old man Spider-Man, And it's like, I want to see more of that. You were talking about like what happens when they go back to their world. It's like I want to see that story because I really like Tobey Maguire, and what happens when he goes back and he's this old man Spider-Man. He's rejuvenated, like doing all this stuff again, and Mr. Science. But anyways, we can get into more. But I mean, again, I liked it. I'm not over the moon like everybody else is with it. My wife was the same way. She's like, eh. But I don't know.
Well, I think Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, they took him kind of like currently, like it was after his two movies, so there was some time after that. It's just it hasn't been as long because I think that it hasn't been as long as those movies, because a lot of the older characters that they took, like Green Goblin and Doc Ock, they did their whole de-aging thing with them to make them look a lot younger, but they didn't. I like they didn't do it with Toby. And they didn't do it with Andrew Garfield.
Yeah.
Well, Octavius even mentions that, that he's all grown up. So they acknowledge that. And it's a little bit weird. I mean, I know what Keaton's saying because, I mean, we were talking a little bit about it, like after, me and my kids and whatnot. And there are some odd things because, like, Otto shouldn't have known that Norman was Green Goblin. No one really knew that he was Green Goblin.
Right.
No,
Electro didn't really know that he was Spider-Man. So why did he get pulled? In the after credits, it's like, why did Eddie Brock get pulled? Because he didn't know who Spider-Man was. So they took some liberties, which I feel like you can basically, because I was telling this to my daughter, I was like, if you're kind of taking the what if scenario where there's like a million different possibilities, there is a possibility that there is a universe in which everything in the Tobey Maguire movie happened exactly like we watched it, except for two things. And that's the version that got pulled into our universe, or into this movie. Just so that there is that familiarity, because if they pulled in a completely new Doc Ock, that you're like, who's that guy? If it was like a different actor and a different outfit and everything, it would be like, you wouldn't have the same impact. So but I feel like because you're dealing with multiverse, you can just kind of write that off as this is Tobey Maguire from 10 years later. He got pulled from that moment in time, and Otto got pulled from like maybe 10 years previous. That's why he doesn't know that he's aged, and you know what I mean. I guess you can have a little bit of fun with it without it being necessarily plot hole. But
yeah, and I also figured it opened up time and space. It wasn't just necessarily pulling in and just because the Tobey Maguire universe happened like so many years for us doesn't necessarily mean it was happening concurrently with what's happening here. Same with Andrew Garfield and stuff like that. So, kind of
madness.
Now the Electro thing, because I was the same way. I'm like, wait, he didn't know. But if you go back and watch that movie, he never sees his face and everything. But there's a point where it's him on the ground and Gwen and Spider-Man, and Gwen goes, Parker, or Peter Parker, or Parker, or something like that, right near him. So he might know the name, or he might have put it together. I don't know. That's a stretch, but it does happen in the movie where she calls him by his name in front of him, in front of Electro.
That's a stretch, but the Eddie Brock.
Well, that one makes more sense
Spider-Man
because
3. He would have known.
Yeah, that
so
is right. But I don't think they wanted to bring in a different Venom.
Right.
I think that's
Why not him?
I mean, they definitely did, picked and choose, which I think they did. I mean, I kind of was hoping. I think I told Chris this. That I was really hoping to see Michael Keaton, and I thought I had because I avoided like all the spoilers. I mean, I knew in the back of my mind I was like,
yeah.
this other Spider-Man, they got to show up. They got to show up. But I know that there were the pictures that got leaked and this and that and the other. And honestly, at a certain point in the movie, I was like, well, maybe they aren't going to show up because it seems like they haven't popped in yet.
Yeah.
So I was like legitimately surprised when Garfield showed up. I was like, oh shoot, that's him. That's awesome. That means Toby's coming. Yeah. So I mean, I didn't know like what was going to happen necessarily because I didn't read all the spoilers and stuff. But yeah, I was like, I thought I did read that Michael Keaton was on the set of No Way Home, and I was like, oh God, look away. And I was like, I kind of am in the back of my mind figured that since he knew his identity and and they're probably going to do the Sinister Six, that Vulture would be there. And it's like, really? He didn't get broken out of jail or join the group. He got replaced by a tree. I mean, seriously? We're so close. You just need one more guy. That's it.
He was there somewhere. Just wasn't.
He was there in spirit. I'm with you guys in spirit.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that thing that you might have saw that you kind of tried to avoid was him filming stuff for Morbius. And I think he went back and redid some stuff for that movie because that movie got pushed back again. And if you guys saw that, Morbius got pushed back. And I think it's because everyone is so enamored with Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man now online that they're going in and they're changing stuff around to where they're making sure his Spider-Man is a Spider-Man.
Well, the Oscorp building's already in the movie.
So they could use him again. Yeah, the Oscorp building, but then
And
there's a graffiti of Spider-Man on a wall, but it looks like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. So I think they're digitally redoing that Spider-Man and putting his Spider-Man there.
And it says murderer. It says murderer across the Spider-Man,
doing.
Which makes sense because Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man basically says, I stopped pulling my punches. So that means he's killed people.
Of course.
Yeah.
Which, there was a time where he was actually Spider-Man the murderer or whatever.
Mm-hmm. So I think that's going to be because they're talking about Sony's Spider-Man, Spider-Verse or whatever. I think that's going to be their main Spider-Verse because they've got Venom, Morbius, and then Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, and they're doing like a Black Cat movie, and they're going to be doing a Kraven the Hunter movie, which they've hired Aaron Taylor Johnson,
the guy that played Quicksilver,
to play Quicksilver to play Kraven. So there's no way that's going to be the MCU universe because it's the same actor. It's definitely got to be a different universe, and I bet so they can tie that all together in this kind of
The thing with after this movie, if they wanted to like continue making, like we're sort of suggesting, Tobey Maguire movies with him being older, and if they at the same time wanted to continue making Andrew Garfield movies and Tom Holland movies, I think everybody would like. Because I mean, they basically said that look, everything that we have put out there, all of our reboots, they actually all coexist in like different multiverses, and they have their own different stories and da. So here, let's watch this version of Spider-Man. Let's watch this version of Spider-Man, and watch this version. And as long as they're good, it's like we're already paying for them anyway. Every time they reboot Batman, everybody goes to see it. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's definitely a win-win situation for them. Like with this movie, I think they've set it up to where they can kind of do stuff like that, and do like Logan, do an old man Spidey, and do that coincides with it because they already got the animated Into the Spider-Verse that they're doing as well, and that's using the same characters but different.
Pretty cool.
So it's gonna be nutty.
I'm up for more Spider-Man. I was one of the few people that from the beginning really liked the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man.
I liked him. I mean, I liked him. Just the stories were.
Well, I liked him as Spider-Man, so it was just fun seeing him.
Yeah, I liked him, and I enjoyed the first movie. The second movie, it was just the villains brought it down. Like it was really the villains that brought it down in the second one because they just made one goofy and then one whiny. And
I'm glad Garfield's back.
And Electro was so awesome in this. I mean, I was I was showing my daughter. We're looking at concept art.
Yeah.
Because you guys obviously noticed whenever he would like do his bolts, he'd get the electric thing on his face. Like the comic. And I was like, now look at this. Look at what they did for this movie. Who made the decision to do this for the Amazing Spider-Man 2? And he's blue and he's in a Star Trek outfit. And I'm like, what were they thinking?
Well, the problem with that, so in comics, there's like the regular Spider-Man comics, and they have the Ultimate Spider-Man comics, which is a different universe, and that's where they pulled their Electro from. But they didn't pull his, but they didn't pull it. That's where they pulled his look, but they didn't pull his storyline.
Yeah, he was kind of like Jim Carrey Riddler. Really I'm just a geek working at Oscorp.
Yeah, Spider-Man didn't come to my.
I'm gonna kill him.
Why didn't Spider-Man come to my birthday party? I hate him. Yeah,
and then
that
there
was
was
bad.
silence.
So
I thought you guys were talking. I was writing some of that
aging on William Dafoe.
Yeah, they de-aged William Dafoe and Alfred Molina. They de-aged both of them because I mean, if you watch actual footage of them just discussing the movie, I mean they've aged. I mean they're like Tobey Maguire, they've aged. So and that was like Alfred Molina's like one thing when they approached him. He's like, I mean look at me. I don't think I can. I don't think I can pull that off. And they're like, oh no.
I was thinking when I was watching, I was like, damn, they look really good.
Like, all right, sure.
They've aged really well.
Yeah, that's my wife. Yeah, my wife was thinking the same thing. She's like, man, Tobey Maguire really aged. Man.
Oh my gosh. Ryan,
Your mic again.
You're dipping into the Spider-Verse.
My favorite character though in the movie can we talk about the villains is the Green Goblin, of course. I mean, and that was cool that they made him the main villain, right? But it was cool how he when he revealed that he was really tricking everybody, and all of a sudden he looked like the Goblin from the cartoons that I remember watching, right? The purple hood and the green outfit, and I was like, that is so cool. That was my this is cool moment.
That was great when he busted the helmet and all, and I was like, oh, no more helmet, yay!
Yeah.
Yeah, and which mimicked the Spider-Man No More cover that they did, which they homaged in the second Spider-Man, basically like the suit by the trash can and him walking away. It was his broken helmet by the trash can and him walking away.
He was another one where we were looking at like
really
what
cool.
they did originally, and I was like, this is the Green Goblin. Look what they did in that first movie. Look what they did in this movie. What were they thinking back then? Look how cool he looks. And he still has his armor and stuff. But the hoodie, and it's all torn, and you can see his face. I mean, that's the thing, that always got me with the Tobey Maguire, the first Spider-Man movie, was you could not see the actor's face. And William Dafoe was like, just when he's like smacking him and he's just like cackling and laughing and he looks nuts.
His eyes,
it's like,
right?
He's all like,
eyes,
oh my gosh, it's like, can you imagine all of that behind a mask? I mean, it would not have played as well.
Sure.
I get why they used a mask, not necessarily that mask, but in the original Spider-Man movie, it was like who is this? Because you can't see his face. So that was the whole mystery behind like the Green Goblin or whatever. Because I mean, if he had his face out,
in this one he has like the
hood,
like, and he has the goggle.
What the heck? So I mean, they could have done it better. There's a video online of a test that they did on that original movie that has like an animatronic Green Goblin face that has like the eyes. Yeah, it's like, so it can emote, it can like open its mouth and do all this cool stuff. Yeah, so good looking. But they didn't go with it. They went with the Power Rangers. And...
Now, this was like the best Green Goblin. I don't know. And it was great that Willem Dafoe got to like do it again. He got to be Green Goblin again and like be like full on like at 12 Green Goblin. I mean, that was great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
wow. Really?
And he apparently was still doing his own stuff.
He was really on the glider, flying around?
Supposedly, like, when he came in, he's like, I'll do this. For the most part, yeah. Like, because in the original, he did
Wow.
like his own stunts, and he said, "If I'm coming back, I want to do my own stunts again." So that was really cool. And I don't think I knew this, but I read this for this one because he did it in the original. When he's Norman Osborn, he actually has like they made him fake teeth that look like nice and straight and perfect.
Oh, wow.
But then when he transfers to the Goblin, they remove those teeth, and that's just his actual teeth.
No.
His
We're gonna
actual
use my
teeth are a
actual
little
teeth when I'm the Goblin.
gnarly.
All right, I think my mic is working.
Spider-Man, come
Poor
out and play.
Let's talk about Aunt May.
Good old Aunt May.
Aunt May. Get it out of the way. Let's get it out of the way.
Her and Happy
What
Get
did
it
you-
out of the way.
broke up.
what did-
Can't believe it.
So she basically took the Uncle Ben role in this movie.
And there wasn't an Uncle Ben, right?
There is an Uncle
But-
Ben, but they never showed him or talked about him.
Okay.
But he has his
Yeah.
in the first Homecoming movie. The suitcases he uses belong to his Uncle Ben.
Gotcha.
Oh, whatever.
Right.
One of them.
Right, I know what you mean.
Well, I was in
one of them.
Far From Home.
Yeah,
That's what
he used a suitcase.
yeah, but yeah. In Civil War, he's alluded to a couple times, I think, but
Yeah,
it's
Mhm.
never like, oh yeah, my Uncle Ben.
Yeah, yeah.
Like they
We don't
don't
talk
wanna mention
about
him.
Uncle
He's
Ben.
Bruno.
No.
Yeah, they kind of
talk about
implied
Bruno.
it, which I was glad at the time because I was like, oh my gosh, do we need to see
Yeah.
Uncle Ben die again?
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
No, we get to see Aunt May.
There we go. That was new. That was different.
There was a brief moment where I thought, oh no, she's going to survive. And then it was like, nope.
I know.
Yeah,
She was just
poor
kind
Dad.
of
Be dead.
ooh, I pulled something. I'm okay. I'm all right. Oh, wait, no, I'm bleeding out.
Yeah.
It's like you kind of like bent in half as you like the glider
I do
burst
Pilates, I'm
behind
fine.
you. I don't think you're okay.
Yeah.
I'm hot, Aunt May. I'm not gonna die.
I
I'm
stretched
hot.
before. It's all right.
I figured somebody was. Yeah, I figured somebody
Hey,
was
Sally
going to die.
Field's hot. Come on.
And it just happened to land on poor Aunt May. Like literally, it landed.
It makes
right shot
sense.
to her.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
And they used the phrase from the comics, right? Because it was different in the other
Yeah.
movies.
I mean,
The wording, slightly. So they actually used the verbiage
slightly.
from the comics. I think from the original comic.
Okay.
There's a little. There's like
Yeah,
a little
I
tweak. Yeah.
forget the little tweak. There's like a word or something.
So yeah. So but yeah, it moved the story along. It had a point to it. So.
And
Yeah.
and that's kind of the Spider-Man story.
Yeah.
You read the comics,
Yeah.
there are people dying all around him left and right. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
you
No,
don't
by
want
the
to know
end,
Spider-Man.
no one does.
Like you don't.
Yeah.
Right.
Which that makes the end scene in the cafe, really drive that home that he's seen Aunt May die. He's seen other people die because of him. And now he's like, I don't want my MJ
hmm
to die. He sees that bandage. That's skipping ahead, but
Yeah.
hmm
Yeah.
He seems them happy.
But she's still
and
wearing the
they're
necklace.
going to college.
I wonder what
She's-
in
yeah,
her
we're
mind.
still
Like,
wearing
is
the
it still
Black
in there
Dahlia
somewhere
necklace.
that Peter Parker gave that to her?
Well,
So
it's
why-
still
why?
special to her, but
That-
she just
I
doesn't
thought that was
know
interesting though that the way it ended because it was as if they never knew him, but
Yeah.
these things still happen. So any of the things that have happened through in-game, through
Yes.
all these things, like what do people think happened then if he wasn't there?
Well, they know Spider-Man. They just don't
Well,
know Peter.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
they know
I'm sorry.
why.
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got
So
you.
they would retain all the memories of dealing with Spider-Man, but they
Who
don't
is
know
this web
exactly
menace?
how
Yeah,
they
that's
got
right.
mixed up with them.
You're right.
So does that mean all video, all pictures, everything
Yep.
disappears? And
Mhm.
does it apply for
He can
like
basically just
her?
go off the grid now. I mean, he's,
Or-
he's
the whole universe? Like,
Mhm.
that was my question. So when Nick Fury comes back from being out in space, or if he ever were to meet up with the Guardians again, would they be like, Peter? And you know me?
Yeah.
And To me, it seems like it affects all space and time because the spell kind of
But
like
technically,
affected
Doctor Strange
space
said
and
the
time
entire world.
because it was,
Yeah, he said the entire world.
I know,
I
but he's
Yeah.
Doctor
I
Strange.
think
Just
it would
screws
be a
up a lot.
little more interesting if down the road when he encounters people from space,
Like Captain
know who he
Marvel,
is.
if they're like,
but yeah, because it would take
they would
it would
remember
take
it.
him by
Yeah,
surprise,
mhm.
and that would be a sort of a gut-wrenching moment where he's like, somebody knows me.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I'm known again,
And I
and that could
think, and
sort
I don't
of
know, Chris
rebuild stuff.
might disagree, but I think I mentioned this to you. I think Strange still knows. Because I think he could easily cast it. I mean, why would you have your own spells like affect you? Because so now that he's like when his movie starts and the multiverse has been cracked open, wouldn't he kind of remember that? Yeah, I kind of did that thing for Peter, and I kind of screwed some stuff up. Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like he doesn't because that's still an opening for the multiverse to leak through. It's like, oh, there would be a
He
crack
could do this,
almost
do
that could
that,
widen.
and he could put that crack inside of a
Because
thing,
one person
and then
knows.
put that thing in his refrigerator, and then everything would be fine. Yeah, yeah.
That
He's
thing
Doctor
in a thing
Strange, man.
in a
Come
hole in a
on.
log. You know.
All right, so here's the question for you. So Peter and Doctor Strange have their moment. He's like, okay, everybody can know, whatever. And then he goes down to say his goodbyes. Why didn't he just stay there? And then when it happened, he'd be like, okay, guys, it's me. I'm Spider-Man. I'm Peter Parker. I want to tell you everything. Instead of being like, man, thank you. You know, I love you. Okay, I got to go now. See you later. And then he shoots off. Because in that moment, he still wants MJ to know who he is. He hasn't had that.
Well, I think
So why didn't he just be like, oh, if I just stay here, you know, maybe I can explain it to her.
I feel like it would. He wants to do it in a more loving way, a more gentle way, and them just like so that like all that kind of like boom, everything's happening to everything, and then saying like, oh yeah, by the way, you just forgot everything.
Yeah.
I think that
She's a
was
smart
even
girl.
more like
Yeah, I mean,
crazy.
yeah, they may learn it again, but at least they don't have all those
She'll
bad
figure it out
memories of
Right.
all that happened.
Well, my burning question is, what the heck is going on at Stark Industries? And is Happy stealing equipment? What's happening there? I was kind of like, at the end of the movie, I was like, that was a weird sort of semi-subplot.
He's just
that
lifting stuff here and
didn't
there.
happen.
He stole a bunch of stuff. He has a big map, like the Epcot-like map on
Yeah,
his wall.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm sure some of that stuff he's taken because it's almost like mementos of Stark. It's still kind of close to him, like the one robot arm, which is kind
But
of
Murdoch's telling him he better get a
dummy or
lawyer
whatever.
and this and that and the other. I was like, oh my gosh, what's going on here? Nothing.
Well, I feel like that's going to pop up.
Yeah.
That's going to be Armor Wars. That's with War Machine. Because missing Stark Tech and things like that, I don't think it's all him. I think he took a couple things.
Sony was like,
but I
before
think
we leave the
there's, like,
MCU,
bigger
we're going to
stuff
do you a
that's
solid.
missing that-
We're going to throw you a bone for one of your shows. All right, we're out.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Well, they threw a couple bones. There was that one, and then them saying, well, Nick Fury's been gone a year or whatever. And he's like, what? So that's a little like, oh, don't forget about this. We got Secret Invasion coming. Remember the Skrulls?
Okay, so where was I? Let's talk about the people in the sky.
Oh. The sky people.
So the sky people. So when it breaks through, it's all purple, cracks in the sky. You see images. You see someone that looks like Craven, right? He's got the spear and the. You see. Yeah, we're gonna.
That was about the only one I saw. I was like fixated on that one.
Oh, really?
I saw 3. Like I caught 3. Well, no, I caught 2. No, I caught 2 because I didn't see Craven at
Yeah,
first.
Rhino was
Actually,
easy to spot.
the 2 I saw were the Rhino, which is more of the comic book Rhino, and it's not the big mechanical suit. And the other one I saw was Scorpion because I saw the Scorpion tail. Those are the 2 I made out because everything those go
Like
by
hidden
really quickly. They don't linger on them.
Online, there's been screenshots of them, and somebody says that one of them looks like maybe Spider-Gwen or Miles Morales. One of them looks like is it Madam Spider or what's her name? Madam Web.
Madam Web, which
she's
is integral to the Spider-Man Spider-Verse because she watches all of it. She's like almost like an oracle or whatever for if you watch the old Spider-Man 90s cartoon, like when that was ending, she was a character in that and brought multiple Spider-Man from all of the Spider-Verse to like stop a big thing that was happening.
Fun.
That's where Spider-Man got to meet Stan Lee and swing him around.
And then I'm trying to think if there's any other ones. There was one that somebody said that it looks like he has like a bunch of arms. And it could be that Spider-Man that has a bunch of arms, or Carnage, or
somebody else. There was multiple ones that could be. I mean, to me, at first it looked like almost like another Dr. Octopus. It could be the Spider-Man Dr. Octopus in the comics. At one point, Dr. Octopus puts his brain waves inside of Spider-Man, so he kind of takes over his body.
Oh, please don't do that in the
and
movies.
Becomes like the
something like that.
Yeah, the superior Spider-Man. I think that's what he called himself, because he had mechanical spider arms that came out. And then there was the one Spider-Man who's I forget what he was, but he's like it's like a demon Spider-Man basically. He's got like really sharp teeth and he's got multiple arms. He was in Maximum Carnage, that comic book series that had Carnage in it. He was one of Carnage.
No Spider-Ham? There was no Spider-Ham. I didn't see a spider.
So there's.
Oh, okay.
So there's probably
I don't remember. Like there may have been a little dot somewhere that pulled out a hammer.
I'm trying to think of anything else in the movie. Of course, they did the meme. They did the 3 Spider-Man meme.
Subtle, but they did it.
Yeah.
Oh,
it was great.
I like that part.
We got to see the science the scientist in Tobey Maguire, which we really haven't seen that before.
Right.
Not as much as the other 2.
Yeah. I mean, he was going to school for all that, but like he was more.
He didn't really have to because his webs just shoot out of his body.
Shoot out anywhere else.
When they were all disgusted by that, like the rest of us.
Yeah.
That was really funny.
Yeah. That was good. Like you ever says so you don't have to worry about like it ever jamming up or anything. Well,
I love the 3 of them when they came swinging in together and they did sort of like the money shot with them all landing. I wanted more of those moments because it just graphically it just looked so cool. The 3 of them swinging across the sky. I was like, oh, do more of that. But they kind of.
Did you see how they? Did you notice how they landed?
Yeah. All like in their signature sort of.
No, like how they land, like the order.
Oh no!
It was Toby and then Garfield and then Holland. So it was 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Nice. That's cool. And then the big shot with all 3 of them jumping towards all the villains that was edited. But you found out why the lizard got his head cocked to the side though. In that one trailer. I don't know if you saw that.
Brazilian
trailer.
Saw
that, but there was there was one trailer. The Brazilian trailer where they edited out the Spider-Man, but for some reason they continued the shot longer. And you saw the lizard's head being
something invisible
hit to the side.
Ah!
And so the lizard's jumping and suddenly
I
he's
forgot
just
something
at home. So that was when people were like,
see, that's why
what
I
they're doing
I
with
watched the
Spider-Man
first
doing that.
trailer that revealed Doc Ock. And that was it. I didn't watch anything else, and I was so glad. I was so glad because the thing is, even if stuff doesn't get spoiled, as soon as that scene started to take place when there's traffic on the bridge and whatnot, I was like, oh, this is when Doc Ock shows up, and I had that knowledge in my head because of that trailer, and again, I mean, I think people had been rumoring and whatnot that the lawyer that was walking around the cell in the trailer, in that first trailer, that's gonna be Matt Murdock, and I was like, yeah, oh god, people are like getting crazy. But then on Hawkeye, which I don't know, spoiler for Hawkeye, when a certain someone showed up on Hawkeye, I was like, Matt Murdock is gonna be in Spider-Man. I was like, he's gotta be. But yeah, I mean, it was just again, it just sort of reinforced my no spoilers, no trailer policy, because it was so fun again to kind of just to discover it and not know, like, oh, this must be that scene that I saw in the trailer where they put the tree in the cell or whatever the heck. But
and we have a new sorcerer, I guess, a new person of magic, Ned.
Magic Ned.
Who will not become a bad guy and kill his best friend.
Which I feel like they tried to.
Well,
I know. I know.
Well, I don't know. All that's been erased from his head now. And really, in the comics, like he didn't necessarily, like, at first he was kind of forced into it. So the real Hobgoblin like knocked him out, put him in the Hobgoblin suit, and let the police find him.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, he's the Hobgoblin. That's kind of like, and it ended up messing with his head and stuff like that. But yeah, so he didn't do it on his own.
I thought it was hilarious thing though. Like,
but yeah, now everything's been wiped.
Try to kill me. He's like, what?
Yeah.
I'll never try to kill you.
So the one thing I wish they'd followed up on a little bit, and I don't know if they ever will. Maybe they will at some point. But when he's fighting Doctor Strange, and Doctor Strange knocks his astral form out of his body.
Yeah.
He was still able to move his body and control it, and he was able to kind of move himself and put himself back into his body and everything. And even Doctor Strange was like, "Are you doing this? Like, what is?"
I heard a theory about that.
So it was a great moment. It was funny, but
that.
Like
they has to do with
never
Adam
followed up on it.
That basically because she's sort of the center of the spider or whatever verse or whatever, that she controls stuff, and she sort of gave him the ability to. Well, it's a cool theory. Will it happen? Probably not.
Probably
but
just
it's a cool
there for
theory.
humor.
Yeah.
We think about these things way too much.
Yeah.
There was that one receipt from the donut shop that. Yeah, the water bill.
The water bill.
I'll never live that down. All right, so favorite. If you had to pick your favorite scene from or at least one of your favorite scenes, or maybe top three. If you want to do top three favorite scenes, what would it be? Or moments in the movie? What's your favorite moments?
Andrew Garfield.
I can start.
Andrew Garfield saving MJ.
Oh, that's my favorite too.
I know. I think it's everybody's.
I loved it.
It was great.
That was good.
I know. I was like, oh,
yeah.
One of those things. It's just like, okay,
I'm okay. My wife is like, what are you
I couldn't
doing?
save my girlfriend, but I'll save you.
That was just, and when we did our prediction or conspiracy theories about that, was one of the things that I said. I'm like, he's gonna save her, and he did, and I was just like, oh,
I was right one time.
Yeah,
I was made.
But you know it's a great moment where you definitely
That's
need
my Mephisto.
to know the source material. If you hadn't seen the movie and you didn't know, it wouldn't have had the same impact. You know, that's one thing I will say that. Yeah, because I mean, for a lot of it, you know, you didn't really have to do the reading. If you hadn't watched any of the other films, it's kind of like Into the Spider-Verse. You just accept that, you know, oh, there's all these villains. Oh, there's more Spider-Man. Whatever. But yeah, you don't get some of the jokes, and you don't quite understand. You know, kind of like with the web shooters and stuff like that, unless you kind of know the history. But that moment was. And I was telling Chris about this earlier today. We were kind of talking about it, but Andrew Garfield is just so good. And I think one of the reasons why I liked him in The Amazing Spider-Man, I feel like he does have a lot of charisma, and he's very different than Tobey. I mean, all three of them are very different with their portrayals, but there's just something really charismatic and likable about Andrew Garfield Spider-Man that you feel for the guy, and and then when he has that moment, you're like, man, good for you, closure.
Yeah, I think we discussed it before, but yeah, it's just like with Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, I thought he was a perfect Peter Parker. With Andrew Garfield, I thought he was the perfect Spider-Man because he got the humor down, he got the sarcasm, he got the playfulness, the taunting and everything. And I think he nailed that aspect of him. And to me, that's why I like him so much. Is it just he knew how to be kind of playful with it a little bit more, and I like that.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Probably one of my favorite scenes.
Oh.
Tom Holland's not even in it. It's the scene where
so
Ned brings the two Peter Parkers there. Because I mean, going into this, I was like, yeah, they'll probably show up, Andrew and Toby, and they'll be in there for like 5 minutes and do their thing and everything. And they came into the scene, and the scene just kept going, and it just was just embracing it, and it was just great. The moment that Ned opened up the portal, just kind of like, hey, I can open a portal, which is just kind of funny. And you see him in the alleyway, and he turns, and you see the eyes. I was like, that's Andrew Garfield. I'm like, those eyes are big and bright. Like, that's not this Spider-Man. That's the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. And then he came running out of the shadows.
Skinny
I
guy.
was like, yeah.
Wonderful.
I was like, that was so great. And which, I mean, to me, like, when he comes to the portal, he's Spider-Man. When Toby comes to the portal, he's Peter Parker. And to me, that's like, there you go. Yeah. That's Peter Parker, and that's Spider-Man to me. Like, that's like a perfect way to introduce both of them. And of course, the whole like, well, do something, dude. Like, walk on the ceiling. What are you like? He just hops up there, like, all right. He's like, we'll crawl. Like, this isn't enough.
Got this.
And she's like,
she was
throwing
hilarious.
bread at him, and then the grandma. Like, the grandma was hilarious. It was just a great, because I mean it was also the scene, like, almost like not necessarily directly after, but after Aunt May had died, and so that was very emotional. And then to jump into this kind of nice light scene that kind of gave you hope and everything, and just like kind of pepped you up more.
Yeah,
it was just.
I can't think of a better way to
really nicely placed.
That they could have introduced them. It was just really, really well done. I guess there was supposed to be, before they did this idea, they said that there was another Marvel character that was going to introduce these two Peters into this universe. But they didn't say which Marvel character it was. They wouldn't say.
Yes.
But they did confirm there was a different Marvel character that was going to come in to introduce our other Peter Parkers. But
so it's going to be a new character, or could it have been Strange?
Well, to me, it seems like it would be a new character, because they didn't say. If it was Strange, I think they would have said, yeah, we were just going to have Strange do it. Or, like, even if it was, like, Scarlet Witch, like, I think if it was someone we'd seen before, I think they would have said. But since they didn't say,
who do you think?
I think it's someone that they're going to introduce.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like, I mean, Madam Web is a good one. It could be someone from the next Spider-Verse movie, possibly, because that's a big Spider-Verse thing. Other than that, I mean, it could have been Mephisto.
Don't tempt.
No.
I hope so, Peter.
How dare you mention his name?
Yeah.
As long as it's not one of the terms.
I'm waiting for Disney Plus.
Me too.
Excellent.
Yeah, you can wait for Disney Plus. It's not horrible. It's not bad, but it's just like, all right, that was a movie.
All right, let's talk. Where was the TV? Questions have been asked. I've seen. Where was the TVA during all this?
They're gonna clean up the mess later.
They're
there's a lot of it.
Loki. Like they could be either. I mean, you don't necessarily know. I don't know if they've said exactly where Loki takes place, but I mean, Loki at
Yeah.
the start of it takes place in Avengers, the first Avengers movie. So I mean, like that's been a while from now.
Yeah, but isn't the
like,
TVA kind of like
TVA at this
the
point
void
could
of
be
time and
gone.
space? Like
Yeah.
It could be.
time, space doesn't really matter to them. So
Yeah. So I mean, yeah.
Ah,
I think it was just like,
you
don't
start
look
thinking about
over
it, your head's gonna
here.
hurt.
Like the people making the movie.
it was all supposed
look
to
over here at
happen.
Loki.
Like the Avengers
This
traveling through time. That was all
doesn't
supposed to
matter.
happen.
Yeah.
But there
Because
weren't any
everything
variants though in
unraveled
this,
down
right? They
with
were
the
all
TVA.
them
And
coming
so
into another
it's like-
dimension that got sent back to their dimension, so there weren't. Of course, that did create branch timelines.
Chris's head's about to explode.
Well, I mean,
Now my head's gonna
it's branch
explode.
timeline. Yeah, I know. My head's gonna explode. If you look at Loki, there's one timeline.
yeah.
Like it's just the one time. At least that's what they showed us. Like this is what the TVA believes is happening. Now, it could be that there were already a multiverse and timelines. It's just the TVA to themselves were like tricking
sit
the
back and
audience
just watch
because we
this for a
wouldn't know
while.
it, and so you
Keep going, Chris.
just think it's... Yeah, I know. But if you go to where Kang, not Kang, was it the one Loki confronts him, and you see the space around him, which is supposedly represents the timeline, it's whole. It's like one nice timeline.
Right.
Yeah.
And when things start
And I've
happening,
thought
you
that
start to
that
see the branches of the
moment in Loki coincided perhaps with Strange casting the spell, because there's a moment in Loki where Kang he's waiting for something to happen, and then there's a moment where he's like, it's it's happened, whatever it is has happened, and now it's going to you're going to kill me, and time is going to get fractured, and I'm wondering if Strange's spell was the thing that started it. That was the catalyst, and then they kill Kang, and then boom, the multiverse of madness gets created.
Yeah, I feel like it's multiple things. I feel like it's that. It's he also Kang, not Kang, whatever, Immortus, maybe is what they called him in that. He's seen all the possibilities, so he like the
Chosen one.
it's not the chosen one. I forget what they call
Ancient one?
what they call the
Ancient one.
Sorcerer Supreme, the original one,
Right.
Yeah.
ancient one. She couldn't see beyond her death, and so with him, he also couldn't really see beyond his death. So he saw to that point. And I also
hears
think
the
it
kids,
coincides with in the WandaVision at the end. She hears the kids. It's like all these things kind of happen.
Which also coincides
and
to
senses
when
are all
Falcon
like,
and the
okay,
Winter
this is
Soldier
it.
were on the boat.
The boat caused it all.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And suddenly they can
It's all
fix the
coming
boat,
together.
no problem. Yeah. With all their knowledge of war. But like within that, I was thinking, like the multiverse and branches where they've explained it in Marvel. It's like they fix the villains or send them back, but really that's caused another branch to me because they've changed. So they're not going back to that timeline. There's still going to be a Doc Ock that dies. There's still going to be a Green Goblin that dies. But
Unless they go
they
right back to
saved
the
this
moment
variant,
where they died.
basically. They created variants.
But that would be
variants.
an alternate timeline.
Like they're
I mean,
like
which-
Doc Ock goes
and I
down.
thought
He's
of-
like, what? He's like, oh, boom.
I'm happy.
Yeah, that was well. Yeah, the one villain I thought they could send them exactly back and it would stay whole was the Green Goblin, because like when the glider's coming at him, you almost see a moment in his eyes where it's like it's definitely Norman again. And he's like, oh no. And so it's like if he pops back right that second, he's like, dang it. And he's like, don't. And so that's why he's like, don't tell Harry, like, it's me again.
But see, we don't know
I'm
though.
sorry
I mean, was
for
that the movie he
everything.
got pulled? I mean, because we don't know.
But yeah, we don't know. I don't
Yeah.
think it is. I don't think it is because he still had his helmet.
Right.
It was
I mean, the
still
reality
pristine.
is
He didn't
we know
look like he'd
frighteningly
been in a
little
fight
about the Marty
when he
Mills.
showed up.
I mean,
Um,
we just don't know that much.
yeah. Mhm. Yeah. The one that I think still died was Dr. Octopus, because when he does show up and he's explaining like I had Spider-Man there and everything, that was when his machine was
Unless it
overloading
was
and the only thing to do was
another
to drown it.
universe that was very similar to that one, but just a little bit different,
Yeah.
and becomes Iron
Or if he still had the
Octopus.
arc reactor and he
Oh,
could
maybe.
absorb it using the arc.
But I
Sony's
like
like,
to think
Sony's like the possibilities are endless.
Yeah, why
We're
not?
I
gonna
like
make
to
all
think
these
that it
movies.
was the characters that we knew, right? Those
Yeah.
those villains and everything, and it's like, so now it makes me think, it's like, okay, so what happens to those movies, or the things that happen in those movies? Does that change that history? I mean, that's the whole point of the multiverse of madness, right? It causes, so what if Doc Ock doesn't die and that reactor is okay, and they fix it or whatever, and so how does that change the world? And just all those different things that maybe don't happen because these are good guys now,
Mhm.
It's
Let's
interesting.
go rewatch the movies. Maybe they've changed.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about
still gonna
let's talk
die.
about
That's
end credit
not what-
scenes.
Oh yes.
So I have not seen the second Venom.
I have seen
haven't
no
yet.
Venoms.
No Venoms?
I've seen no Venoms.
Oh,
That's okay.
I watched it recently. I actually
Yeah.
the first Venom
Yeah.
is fun. Like, I mean, it's definitely different from the comics and everything, but it's fun. The second one I just watched recently, Let There Be Carnage, and it's entertaining. Like, it has some good moments, but it also has some like, really, you're doing that kind of thing. So it has some fun stuff. It also has some like, jeez. Like you're going back to the Amazing Spider-Man storyline, like
so
disappointment.
there's an end credit scene in that one, right?
So yeah, that one. So there's an end credit scene
I'm
in
not
that
gonna
one,
watch
and this doesn't spoil anything for the movie or anything for Venom. He's in like Mexico or somewhere like that because he's had to run off. And it's like this dump of a hotel room, and they're sitting watching like this Mexican soap opera, which is basically shows you they're in Mexico, I guess. That's why they put it on the TV. And he's talking to Venom, and Venom's like, "Oh, you don't know anything, Eddie Brock. The stuff that I know with the symbiote hive mind." And he's like, "What? What are you talking about?" He's like, "Yeah, I'd blow your head off if I told you everything that the hive mind knows." It's like, I'll give you a little taste or whatever. And so it seems like he's going to inject some kind of knowledge into Eddie Brock's head, and then suddenly all this stuff starts like kind of shaking out around him and everything, and the environment changes to this really nice hotel room in Mexico. And he's like, "What'd you do?" He's like, "I didn't do anything." "What's going on?" And then suddenly on the TV, you see J. Jonah Jameson from the MCU universe, revealing that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. And that kind of grabs their attention. They're like, "Who's this?" And Venom's
So it
like, "I
makes
don't
that
know,
leap.
but I like him."
Yeah.
And that's where it ends. And so in this end credit scene, that's why you see him in a bar in Mexico, and the guy's like telling him about the whole universe, and he goes, "Well, maybe I need to go talk to this spider guy or whatever." And then
I see.
not all of
So when
everything
when the
changes back
hotel
and he
room
gets sent back
changes,
to
that's
his
him getting
universe.
sucked into this movie.
Yeah.
No Way Home. I see. Which would have been
Yes. Yeah.
right.
Yeah, but he wasn't in New York
He was in
like all the
Mexico.
other characters. He was in Mexico. And and so there is no Peter Parker, or he wouldn't know who Peter Parker is because they've disconnected that from Venom in that movie. But supposedly people have theorized that the Venom symbiote hive mind is connected to the multiverse. And so that Venom would be connected to other Venoms, and so the symbiote would know. And since they're bonded, it brought
Makes
Eddie
perfect sense.
Whoa,
to
mama.
this universe. That's what they're, which to me that's to me that's why like another little thing I think that
Yeah.
they're linking Andrew Garfield to that universe because that Venom might know like
So the
Spider-Man,
bit
so they'll
of
have a
goo that's
Spider-Man
left
to
in the
go along
bar,
with
is that just a
Venom
little
stuff.
haha? You think they're gonna do anything
know.
with that? Mexican bartender Venom?
I don't know, like, because I mean, technically, the comic book guy movie, yeah, I know. The comic book guy, I mean, is like that's not how symbiotes work, because it's not like he
Right.
left
And every time
Venom.
that happens, it
He
becomes a
left the
new
spawn of Venom,
something, right? Yeah.
so it wouldn't be Venom. It becomes a new symbiote. That's how we got Carnage. That's how we got multiple symbiotes. So to me, it's like, I mean,
Hopefully nothing.
I don't know what they're gonna do
Maybe
with
not.
I
that.
want new villains, new villains.
I mean, the last thought. I mean, the last thought in his head was to go to New York and seek out Peter Parker. But like, would the symbiote
Yeah.
even know the Peter Parker name anymore? Well, or he thought to seek out Spider-Man, so
Yeah.
it
Squeaky,
could be like,
And then he goes,
go to New York,
squeaky.
Spider-Man.
Yes.
Yeah, all the way there.
was the bartender from something else? Some other Marvel movie? I saw something about that. I have to go look at that. Anyways,
I don't know.
all right. And then the final, I guess you call it an end credit scene. It's more just the trailer for Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's like what they
Something.
did at the end of, was it
Yeah.
Captain America?
I think so.
They show the Avenger trailer.
Dun,
It was a
dun.
good
it's
trailer.
just the
It was a
Doctor
good
Strange
trailer,
Multiverse
yes.
of
If you
Madness
haven't watched What If, peoples, go watch the What If.
I mean,
What? They're doing the Doctor Strange Supreme.
is it though? How many Doctor
Yeah.
Stranges do you think there's gonna be
Three.
in Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness? Because I think it's more
At least
than 2.
100.
Yeah, there's 3 because possibly 3. There's I mean
Oh, yeah, that's
no.
right.
Started
Don't
putting the
spoil
toy
it,
line out.
Chris.
and
No.
I'm not gonna spoil anything, so just don't look at the toy line if you don't want to be spoiled, because there's always already some little things that you can spot in the
weird.
toy line and you're like, oh, okay. and there are
There's a
maybe we
woman
can talk
Doctor
about it another
Strange.
time when Ray's not here.
and There's the
Loki Doctor
alien
Strange.
Doctor Strange. Loki.
Alligator Doctor
but this-
Strange.
there are rumors.
Excellent.
There are rumors of other characters
I have heard that there are rumors, but I'm going to
popping.
stay away from them, so I am surprised on the day.
Oh, I heard a rumor, but about somebody in this movie that's going to be in that movie.
All right.
I don't know. I don't want to ruin it for
Is it
Ray.
Wong? Is Wong going to be in?
No, that it's. I don't know. I don't know how this would happen, but suppose there's a rumor that Toby.
Well, I
gonna
did
make
read
an
something that
appearance.
they were going to do some more reshoots
I
to
don't know if I
throw some more
believe.
cameos into the movie.
Yeah. So
I don't know where you got your
I don't know
sources,
about that
Ryan.
one. There is
wrong.
another one. I don't know. My people. There's one rumor that I really can
Go
see
ahead.
happening.
It's a rumor. Go ahead.
I don't know if Ray just want to close your ears. Okay. Supposedly, there's going to be an Illuminati. You're like, what? The Illuminati in the comics are several key Marvel characters that basically make huge decisions for the Marvel universe, and set people on certain paths and stuff. Included in the Illuminati, Doctor Strange has been in there. Professor X is in it. Black Bolt.
Wasn't excited
and
about Black Bolt.
various
I don't know who that
others.
Yeah.
Those are the ones.
He's the man.
I know.
I guess he's a man.
Crescent
But
Wrench.
supposedly,
Crescent
yeah,
Wrench.
there's
And Black Bolt in the same movie?
Black Bolt's an Inhuman.
Oh yeah, that's right.
from
Yeah.
TV show that failed. Which they would totally redo it. They wouldn't use the same one because that one failed so bad. They would use a different one. Namor, I believe, was part of the Illuminati at one point. But I mean, I did see rumors before. There was apparently someone saw like storyboards or whatever that had Professor
Maybe
X
it was just the guy in a wheelchair.
in them. Or
There's
Doctor
more than one
Strange.
person in a wheelchair.
It's true. It's very true.
It'd be Deadpool.
But supposedly, yeah, the
It could be
Illuminati's going
Deadpool.
to play a role in
That
it.
would be funny if it was Deadpool and he's in
I mean, you
Professor
never
X's
know.
wheelchair.
Mhm.
Like, I stole
Show
this.
up.
Yeah.
That would be the one cameo
Oh,
that
yeah.
I would be fine with, like 5 minutes.
Mhm.
He just popped up, did something great, and then left. Like he wouldn't have to be the rest of the movie. That would be the
Now
one
that you said
cameo.
Illuminati like 16
That would work
times,
with that.
I'm pretty sure this episode just was flagged, and the Illuminati will be watching us from now on.
Yes.
Black Bolt will be
Yes.
visiting your house soon.
Maybe we'll talk about that on
Mhm.
the next episode of I Am Legend,
Mhm.
which will deal with paranormal stuff. Okay, so what would be the end credit scene that didn't happen that you wanted to happen?
Mm.
Oh,
Oh,
and
yeah,
real
that's
quick,
right.
Mr. Fantastic.
I
is
remember
part of it
hearing
as
rumors
well.
about him.
Yes, after his non-appearance in WandaVision.
So sorry. Sorry.
Oh, better be Jim from The Office.
So that's why, like, we
Better
got to put
be.
him in this because people. He showed up. He was like, "Yeah, I just got through building this machine for this like shield agent."
Hey, what's the end credit scene that you wanted to happen that didn't happen?
Okay. I would have liked to see the other Spider-Man
Mhm.
pop back into their universe just for a little bit. To see like Mary Jane and Tobey Maguire Spider-Man,
Spider-Girl.
and maybe they had like a
Wasn't there a
little
rumor
kid.
that that she was going to film
Yeah.
something, or
'Cause,
that
I mean,
they
the
had filmed
comics,
something
they-
with her, but then they cut it?
I don't know. There was.
Oh yeah. I remember
the
that. Yeah.
Tony Stark's daughter. She filmed something, but they cut it. But I didn't hear about. I mean, maybe there
she was in the
was.
clouds.
But I don't know. But yeah, I would have liked to see. Yeah. Hey, there's Peter. Hey.
Yeah.
I thought that would have been nice, like a little bit.
Just a little prologue with the other guys.
You ready for my
Yeah.
storyboard? Because I've been thinking about
All
this,
right.
and I saw somebody else think about. I saw the creator of Phineas and Ferb also thought about this, and I was like, oh, we thought about the same thing. He's a funny guy.
Yes.
Anyways, so we go to Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man universe. It's a scene. Webb's coming down. Gwen's falling. And before she hits the ground, the redeemed Electro catches her. It saves the day.
But she's falling really, really
Shh,
far.
don't
and
go
he
into
has
that.
No
Don't-
superpowers.
No, but see the web,
He doesn't-
the
he
web,
doesn't-
is
Yeah,
hooked
he doesn't
onto
have
her, so
powers anymore.
she hasn't snapped back yet. And he catches her just in
No,
time.
she has
just
to
catches her
die.
head.
So his scene in this movie is cool.
It'd be cool. But he comes from a different
branch.
time. So this could set up Spider-Gwen because of the way that story
TVA is
plays
not
out.
going to allow it. I'm sorry.
Because he wouldn't be put back in that moment. He'd be put back in another moment. But this new Electro goes back to that moment. He saves her, and then in the next Amazing Spider-Man that they make, Spider-Gwen shows up. Yeah, see? And that's how we get Spider-Gwen.
We can get Spider-Gwen anyway.
Oh, come on. It would have been cool.
Yeah, we can get her anyway. It's fine.
Well,
And
I'm
really,
gonna go with-
Spider-Gwen is Hawkeye.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Oh, does she?
She does the voice of Spider-Gwen.
Kate the
Kate the-
Bishop.
Oh my gosh.
She's the actress Haley
I've got
Steinfeld does
the
voice of
creator of
Spider-Gwen.
Phineas and Ferb on my side.
Oh, okay.
He's more famous than all of us.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean,
He's a
yeah,
good
He does the
follow.
voice,
made a
dude.
character
Yeah,
named
on
Doofenshmirtz
Instagram, it's so
was
funny.
the-
I know. He
hilarious.
is like
He's great.
super funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quick story about him, which is something we could talk
Mhm.
about.
He's
in
good.
one of
I
our
like
I
his
Am
show.
Legends episodes. If Ray, you don't know what that is, we'll explain it later. Do you know that he had an event in his life with missing time? When he was in college, he was driving somewhere to meet some people to do like an interview.
Mhm.
Him and this friend of his, this girl, and they saw these weird things on the road when they were driving. And then when they got to the destination and they went to the door, the guy who answered the door said, "Hey, you can't. You're like 2 hours late for your interview." And they're like, "There's no way we could be 2 hours late for our interview." Like they knew the time to get there and back.
Yeah.
He's like, "We don't know what happened. We don't know, but those hours just went missing." And he's like, he was on a podcast and he talked about it and it was like, "Oh, this is really fascinating." So
Aliens.
Probably.
Was the interview in the Bermuda Triangle?
Aliens.
No, it's in California somewhere.
Yeah.
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 And he was, for some reason, he was walking funny.
All right, back to Spider-Man.
He got sucked into this other universe, and there's all these supervillains.
Would you say that this was the best Spider-Man movie
Ever made?
ever made?
I think Spider-Verse is probably still my favorite, but this is probably a close second.
Cool. Well, let's say live action. We'll go that route.
Oh, live action. Yeah, then probably.
I feel like Spider-Man 2 still has maybe just a
Very
slight
slight.
edge on this one for me. Just slight. Just.
We didn't get.
They're
Oh, I'm sorry.
both
Let's back
great.
up.
Just
Come on.
like that was really good. This
Patron,
one,
Yeah.
what was your end credit scene you wanted? Sorry, we got distracted by Doofenshmirtz.
I hadn't really thought about it, but I think going back to something I said earlier and kind of tagging on to what Chris said, it would have been interesting to see one of the characters when they got transported back to their time, right? And maybe just seeing them in their world,
Yeah.
could have been interesting. I hadn't really thought about it. We had somebody in the chat, though, say Miles. I think that was in response to that question. It's like
Yeah.
maybe seeing something with Miles in there would have been cool. So, yeah, that could have been cool, too.
I think they're saving Miles, I think, for something.
Mhm.
I think we're going to see Miles. Yeah, he exists. And I think they're
he
saving him
exists
for something.
in MCU. Yeah, I feel like when when they're basically done with Tom Holland,
Sometime
they're gonna
in this next
introduce
trilogy, probably.
Miles Morales as their main. But at this, but at the same time, I still think they're going to do more with Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man.
Ray, did you say your end credit, or do you just agree with Chris?
Yeah, I think I said kind of the same thing. Just to kind of have like a little prologue, see what's going on with all the other people that got sent back.
Yeah. And where is Spider-Pig? That was the big question. Or Spider-Ham, whatever his name is. He's a pig.
Ham pig.
Like,
They should have jumped into the Simpsons universe and visited with Spider-Pig.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Spider-Pig.
But I think it was in the Simpsons. It was Spider-Pig, and he's
Keaton.
actually in the comics. It's Spider-Ham.
I think we know the answer to this. Was this the best Spider-Man live-action movie?
I don't have the authority to say it was the best. I can't. What I can say is it wasn't my favorite Spider-Man movie.
I never would have guessed. What was your favorite?
I don't know. I never really thought about it. And I don't think I've seen, or if I have, I just don't remember them very well. The Amazing Spider-Man movies.
It would have been funny if you said, "I don't think I've seen any other Spider-Man movies."
This was my first one.
This is the first one I've ever seen. I said it earlier. I really like the Tobey Maguire ones, and that's the one I've seen. The ones I've seen the most, and I was late to the party to see the Tom Holland ones, and he's good. I don't know that. I don't know. I've never really thought about what's my favorite Spider-Man movie, and maybe it's just because I'm not a huge Spider-Man fan. I mean, I loved watching the cartoon growing up, but I mean, I don't know.
So you haven't seen the Andrew Garfield ones?
I don't think so. I
Spider-Man
probably did, but it's probably one of those times
You
where I
should
slept
go back
through a
and-
movie. So
Go back and watch them.
It's going to be interesting to see where they go from here, though, because the next Spider-Man movie they do with Tom Holland, it just will not be as big as this one. It just can't be.
It's going to be interesting though, because now we're to the Spider-Man, basically for lack of a better word, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. It's going to be more on a small scale. It's not going to be him fighting aliens on other planets.
Right. Yeah.
It's going to be like he's got nobody. He's got to build up from there. And if he doesn't have a landlord that demands the rent, at least 3 times during the movie, then there's something wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's going to be interesting to see what they do next.
But is he not part of the Avengers anymore then?
No.
Just because they don't know who Peter Parker
could
is?
be.
Well, I don't.
Spider-Man
But
could
is
be.
Spider-Man?
Right.
They know Spider-Man. They
Well,
don't
I mean,
know
so
Peter Parker. Yeah.
Why not?
Is there
But
an
why, how do they not know Peter Parker?
Yeah.
It's hard,
really his? I mean,
Yeah.
really,
Sure.
Spider-Man's link to the Avengers was Iron Man, and he's gone. So I mean, I don't necessarily see
True.
and
Yeah.
I mean, who's the Avengers now? Like, I mean, they
Everything-
call
yeah.
Hawkeye an Avenger.
Everybody's kinda
but, I mean,
disbanded, so,
Spider-Man
yeah.
didn't really
Yeah.
interact.
And that's
with
the thing
Hawkeye.
with the problem with the shared universe, because it's like, where's this one? Where's Scott? While this is going on, why isn't this one helping? And that's kind of always the problem. So, we probably, I don't know what they're cooking up, if the next big event is going to be some kind of a Secret Wars thing or some kind of multiversal where all the heroes and villains of current and past are brought back in some epic fight. But that's probably going to be the next time Spider-Man is like with everybody again. Because I think that probably also just becomes hard to like have these stories and kind of write for, well, we got this franchise going on over here that we're like, this much invested in, but we got our own thing going on. We got our Disney Plus, and Sony's not part of that. So I don't know. It's almost kind of like they're going to kind of wheel him off to the side for a little bit. And maybe, if there's another event film like Endgame or Infinity War, maybe he'll get pulled back in.
If they did another team up or something with him, I would want it to be Spider-Man and Daredevil, where it would kind of do a smaller story, take place within the city. I mean, they could even do Kingpin, or whatever. Because
totally.
Kingpin is a Spider-Man villain as well. So I mean, I think they could really do something with that if they're going to kind of, because each of these movies he's kind of teamed up or whatever, with like Iron Man and then Nick Fury and then Doctor Strange. So like if they continued that,
And
I would say Daredevil would be
Hawkeye,
their best bet.
To some characters
The
from
next one.
Hawkeye, just because again they mentioned I guess that's really not part of just Spider-Man, but the Statue of Liberty. And then you talked about Kingpin. I don't know.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see where they go.
Yeah, I think definitely a smaller scale story, I think, would be the best bet for them to do.
That was one thing I thought about though
Pull it
too.
back a
Is
bit.
after this ended, is like this is how they split him off from everything else, because they made everybody forget about Peter Parker, anyways, and all of this stuff happened, and it's kind of like here's the end of this, all these things, but he's starting anew in many ways.
I mean, And if you think about what villains that they have left to use really, and like the best villain I think they have sitting there is J. Jonah Jameson. Because in the comics, J. Jonah has actually hired people to take down Spider-Man on several occasions. He was the reason the Scorpion became the Scorpion. He put him in touch with someone to get the suit to go after Spider-Man. And really, they kind of have that set up a little bit because the Scorpion does want to go after Spider-Man. That he's not the Scorpion yet, and then you have J. Jonah Jameson who wants to take down Spider-Man. So they kind of they have that set up there.
We'll
if they
call
wanted to
Sony
use
and
it.
ask them.
Yes.
Anyways.
Okay.
Well, I think we've covered pretty much everything.
Pretty much everything.
I hope they do something else with Tom. I like Tom. I think they've already said they're going to do 3 more movies with him, right?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and supposedly there is something with Marvel that they have at least one more use for that they can do with him within someone else's.
But I hope they already announced that they were basically doing 3
movies.
more movies with Tom.
So.
Yeah.
Well, they announced it, but then they almost immediately took it back.
I like Tom. He sticks around.
Yeah, and I think they made, and again, I doubt it it's pretty obvious to all of the parties involved, with this film and it making as much money as it did, having, Doctor Strange in it, and the people from the old Spider-Man films having like a big sort of Avengers level sort of movie where you have a lot of heroes and a lot of villains and so forth and so on, to make it a big spectacle like this. It pays. So I mean, I can't imagine Sony will no MCU, you can't have him appear in this movie or that movie or this and that and the other. It's like, why would you do that? Yeah, exactly. So,
Yep.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
like
it's
they had
advertising
ads
for
for
their
Rogers
movies.
the musical in Spider-Man No Way Home. So,
I can do the song.
Yeah, I mean, they did.
College
I mean,
years.
they did
He's
the high
gonna go
school
in,
years, so
like
now
somebody
they
said
gotta
in
do
the
the
comments, I've
college
seen
years.
videos. He's gonna go in. He's like, let me look at my schedule. Wait a minute. Who's this guy? I just forgot his name. The lizard.
Kurt Connors, Dr. Connors.
Yeah, Connors. I have some class with
Connors?
a professor named Connors. I don't think I want to do that.
Mhm.
Shows
Yeah.
up and sees up with one arm. It's like, oh,
He
jeez,
bumps
it
into a
is.
girl. She's like, "Oh, I'm sorry." And he goes, "My name's Peter. What's your name?" "Oh, my name's Gwen." And he's like, "Oh."
I see you have on your resume
Could
here
be.
that you were part of the Stark internship program. They don't have any record of you, so I don't
Yeah.
know why you're
He
lying on your
he
application.
meets his new roommate, and it's his last name's Osborn.
Terry
He's like, "Wait a second."
Now, Goblin said there was no Oscorp in this universe, so
But that doesn't mean there's no Osborns.
Well, so supposedly, like, there's another thing I saw online about this. So he went to his house and said it's not his house, and he says his son Harry, but he doesn't necessarily say like he doesn't exist or anything. He just said, like, he's saddened, like, almost when he says his son. So supposedly in some online thing, in some online Daily Bugle thing or whatever, before this movie came out, there's like this little clip or something written in there about a disgraced billionaire scientist or whatever, failure of a scientist or whatever, busted into this like a house or soiree or something at this place, and just kind of like went nuts and then left. So speculation is that was this Norman Osborn going to his house, thinking it was at his house. So people would have had to recognize him. So in this universe, Oscorp doesn't exist because he failed as a scientist and didn't create Oscorp at the time. So they have almost like a loophole where like Oscorp could show up at some point if they wanted to do it. But at this moment in time, it doesn't exist because he failed, and so that failure could.
Let's
lead
not do
him to,
Goblin
like,
again.
go insane.
They ended him on a good note. No, please.
I feel like they're not going to. Not like
Sure.
I'm sure in the distant future they'll probably do a Goblin again. If they're going to do a Goblin, I'm thinking it's going to be Hobgoblin,
Nose Goblin,
Demon Goblin. There's other goblins. There's Jack-o'-lantern. Who's basically a goblin, but he's got a jack-o'-lantern on his head. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think I don't know how long we've been going because my stuff stopped recording.
About an hour and 30.
So I think we're wrapping it up. Ray, thank you again.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ray.
And I'm sure there'll be another roundtable coming up where you can drop your knowledge. We need to talk about Hawkeye sometime because it was really good. I really enjoyed it. Really loved it. Thank you for all our listeners and our viewers. And next week I will be gone. So that means it's going to be a really good show.
Woo! Tune into that one.
It's going to be very organized.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Possibly.
Yeah.
I'm sure Katrin and Chris are going to do something maybe. I'm not sure what.
We'll figure something out.
And then I'll be back the following week back from Hawaii, back from Disneyland. So I'm sure I'll have lots to say, hopefully, if Hawaii lets me leave. Yeah. So there we go. Anyways. All right. Thank you guys, and we'll be back next week with something fun, something new, and of course, something geeky on I Am Geek. This has been I Am Marvel.
Bye-bye.
So, because we're still on YouTube. Hello, YouTube.
That's fine.
Thank you guys for all the comments tonight.
Yes.
I think we'll get Miles sometime, Vance, hopefully, in live action. Anyways, yep. So, I don't know what else you guys have, but
Nothing.
I think I'm good.
All right. Well, bye, YouTube and
Peace
Facebook.
out.
Bye.
Bye. We petered out.